Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Coders Arcade. Today this is sort of welcoming you again to our channel, and today I have a very good news for you. Today we will be starting up with a playlist which is totally dedicated for a very unique concept that has been in demand in the IT industry in the recent past, and people are very eager to learn about that. And so, as I said, we will be starting with a playlist which is totally dedicated to CI/CD for automation testers. Okay, this will be our playlist, and I hope many of you guys might be already knowing what is CI and CD. It stands for continuous integration, continuous deployment, and delivery. Okay, so today we'll be starting up with the playlist, and we'll be gradually going on and learning a lot of stuff in that. Okay, so myself, Saurav, and I just want to tell you one thing. If you guys are new to this channel, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon because we are really motivated when you guys subscribe to our content and like our content. Okay. And if you really feel these videos are really useful for you, go ahead and share them with your friends and family because that will be a lot of help for them also and for us also. Okay. So thanks a lot. And as I said, today we'll be starting with, let me go to my whiteboard. And so, as I said, today we'll be starting up with the topic or the playlist, which is CI CD for automation testers. Okay, this will be completely dedicated for them. And guys, if you don't know, let me just tell you, this is actually a part of the principle or the process that we follow in the IT industry right now, which is totally in trend right now. And I hope you know about that, which is DevOps. Okay, that actually says development plus operations. So, guys, in this, CI/CD is actually a part. So, let me just give you a brief idea what is this. So, here we have continuous integration, we have continuous development, okay, then we have continuous testing, we have continuous deployment, and also, last but not the least, we have continuous, let me just cut this, monitoring. Okay, so guys, DevOps is actually a never ending process. Okay, and to be frank, let me just tell you something about DevOps before we start with CI/CD. So, just to tell you or sum up in a very easy way, we can say that DevOps is actually a never ending process for continual improvement. Okay, so out of that, we will not be covering entirety of DevOps. We'll just be focusing more and more on CI, CD. Okay, this will be our target or our area of concern. Okay, so we'll be focusing more on this. Now, what do you actually mean by CI, CD, guys? Let me just give you a brief idea about what we are talking about right now. You guys must have already heard about the SDLC, software development lifecycle. Okay, so I'll just give you an idea what DevOps is. Okay, so that you can get a better idea of what we are going to learn in CI and CD. Okay, so if we talk about the software industry, whenever you are developing an application, okay, whenever you guys are developing an application, it can be anything. It can be a web application, it can be a mobile application, it can be anything. Okay, in that case, we have actually three different phases. Okay, so phases can be something like this. We can say development, then you can take it as the QA, the quality assurance, or the quality analysis, whatever you can say, and then we have the operations. Okay, these are the three parts actually, or the three phases where we will actually divide our software, whatever we're building. Okay, and in this entire thing is actually coming under our DevOps. That's why it is called development plus operations. Okay, so everything combined together is giving you the DevOps lifecycle. Okay, so I hope you have got a brief idea about what DevOps is. DevOps is actually including the start of any project to the end where it is actually deployed, and after that even the maintenance and the monitoring is also considered by the DevOps cycle. Okay, in that we will be mostly focusing on the CI/CD part, the continuous integration, the continuous deployment, and the delivery part. Okay, so I hope you have got a brief idea about this now. Now let me just go ahead and try to give you some other stuff about this. Okay, so now let me give you a brief intro about CI/CD. Okay, so as I said, we have already discussed this. CI stands for continuous integration. CD stands for continuous deployment plus continuous delivery. Okay, so here we just have to understand one thing very properly so that everything is very clear now. Okay, so what I will just write or draw a simple diagram to you so that you can understand this thing. Okay, so here we actually have to understand this cycle in a totally easy manner. Okay, so what I will do is I will just divide it into parts, something like this. Say I'm saying that we are actually doing a plan to build an application. Okay, so that will be our plan, and then after the plan, what do you do? We just start to write the code. Correct, I am not going in detail about the SDLC lifecycle. Okay, guys, I am trying to make it easy for you to understand so that you can easily understand what is the CI/CD lifecycle. Okay, so I'm just saying that suppose you have a idea of a software and you had a plan. That plan you started coding, and after that you have actually built your software. So you have the build now. After that, obviously, you guys have to test your software. That will be your next task. And after that, you will just, if everything goes well and your software is ready for deployment, then what you will do, you will just release it. Correct. And then what you will do, after the release has been actually done, then you will be deploying that into the production environment. Correct. And after that, your ops team will be doing their work. Correct. This is the entire cycle of what actually happens in the life cycle of a development of a software, right? It can be a mobile application, it can be a other software also. So in this, what actually happens is very simple, guys. Till this test phase here, this part, this thing is actually the continuous integration part. Okay, I will tell you what integration is in a moment. Don't worry about that. I'm just giving you the division. Okay, and after that, from the test part here, this part till the deployment, this part here is actually called your CD part, the continuous delivery part. Okay, where we have the test part also included with the deployment part, that is called the delivery. Okay, this is actually a brief idea of how the CI/CD cycle works. Okay, I hope this is clear now. So what is the actual intention of having this CI/CD pipeline? It is actually called a pipeline, right? So what is the actual meaning of that, guys? To be frank, what we do is when we are actually working in an IT industry at that time, let me just give you a simple example from the IT industry only. Say there are three developers, dev 1, dev 2, and say dev 3. They are actually working on some features. Okay, say this guy is working on feature 1, this guy is working on feature 2, and this guy is working on feature 3, obviously. And the main idea of the CI/CD paradigm or the CI/CD principle is actually that these guys actually should work on the features, individual features of a software, and then finally they will create a bug free software. Okay, and for that, these guys have to use something called a source code management tool, Okay, for example, the best source code management tool that we have is Git. Okay, and what do? They create a stable version of the code. This is very important. Okay, they will create a stable version of the code which is ready for delivery. Okay, this is the actual motto of having the CI CD. Okay, now let us discuss about how this is actually done. Okay, so guys, I will be using diagrams, okay, so that you can understand it properly. So what I'm saying here is, say suppose as I talked about this, say this is developer 1, this is developer 2, and they are working on their systems, and they are actually pushing and pulling the codes from the source code repository. Say for example, this can be GitHub. Okay, this guys just work on individual features, say F1 and F2, and then after that they push their code into the online repo, and then they just target to create a stable code. Okay, that's what I said. And after that, this part is actually the development part. Okay, and after that, what happens in this CI server, the continuous integration server? What happens? There are certain continuous integration tools, and I can say softwares also. For example, the best one is Jenkins. Okay, so here what happens in this Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, what we can do is actually whenever we have this stable version, this actually has to go through a certain process in the CI environment or the CI server. So what happens is it will first go through a build, then it will go through a test, and then finally you will get the results. Guys, don't try to go very deep into it, because right now we will not understand about that. We'll gradually talk about all of them one by one. For this build, there are certain build tools, like for example we have Maven, we have Gradle, and so. Okay, and after that, for integrating them, we have lots of testing frameworks, like we have JUnit, we have TestNG, and so. And so, as I said, after the developers have produced the stable version of the code, it has to go through a build process. Then it will go through the unit testing process, where every detailed things about the codes will be checked. And after that, it can be done using the JUnit and the TestNG frameworks, which are some examples. And as I said, for the build, we use the Maven build tool or maybe the Gradle build tool. Okay, and finally, for logging the results, we have certain softwares that also we can use. Okay, understood? So, guys, as I told you, first the developers will develop a stable version of the code. Then, in the CI server or the CI environment, using automated tools such as Jenkins, we can build a pipeline like this, where what happens? The stable code will actually go through three parts: the build part, then it will go through the test part, and then it will go through the results, where we will be actually checking what? We will be just checking one simple thing, guys: is the code working or not? Okay, sometimes it is also known as the sanity test. So we keep on checking whether the stable version of the code is actually ready for delivery or not. Okay, so every time we go through this CI pipeline, we are actually trying to check whether the build that we have created is actually ready for deployment or not. Okay, that is actually the real work of the continuous integration part in the CI CD pipeline. Okay, now let's discuss some key points about the CI CD pipeline. Okay, so I will just discuss some important parts here. Why is actually CI important? Why is continuous integration important? So the first basic thing that is required is, as I said, The stable version of the code has to go through a build, then it has to go through a test, and after that we'll get the result, right? The results will actually give you a chance to detect early detection of bugs, okay, which is very important in order to create a bug free code or a bug free software, okay. After that, we can also determine if there are any code breaks in our code that we have created, okay. So it helps in determining code break. Fine. After that, it also enables us to do continuous deployment, because if the CI pipeline is working properly, that means every time we are trying to integrate our stable code, that means, guys, what I try to say is, see, every time what happens, because each developer will be keeping on working on their features and they will be pushing their code to the online repository. What happens, every time this integrated test will be going on, and every time we'll be getting the results. So what happens, every time, as I said, the motto is to create a application or a release which is readily available for deployment, okay. So this CI or the continuous integration actually enables continuous deployment. Obviously, if the stable code has some errors in that, then it is not ready for deployment, right? So it has to be ready. So when we have done proper CI or the continuous integration, then we can say that it actually enables continuous deployment, because that will be the next thing after the continuous integration, right? And then also, it enables us to do automated testing of the stable code that we have created, okay. So we can also say that it enables automated testing. And guys, can you think of any other thing? Because we are automatically generating test reports, it will save us a lot of time, bro, okay. So ultimately, we can say that it will be a less time consuming project, because the tools like Jenkins create an automatic pipeline where we can actually save a lot of time. And after that, last but not the least, which is very important, it increases the quality of the product, correct? So guys, if you want, you can note down this. These are very important for interviews also, okay. So I hope you have understood this. So now let's talk about some of the best practices of CI or continuous integration, okay. Best practices. Guys, I as a automation tester, I always believe in one thing. If we get the bug in the initial stage only, it will be very good for us to rectify that and solve this, right? So the first important best practice for continuous integration is that we always have to maintain a single source repo or repository. There should not be messed up code. Everyone should be in sync and everything should be in proper unison. There should not be any difference between the code written by one developer from the other one. Okay. Everyone should be going on in sync. Then only we can create a proper stable code. And the second one is always commit your changes early. Don't delay it. And always commit often, so that you are actually updating the latest code in the stable repository. Okay. After that, please remember, if your code is not working, please don't commit it, okay. So never commit broken code. Next, we can say that if there is any build failure, we have to always correct it, because that build is actually triggering all the tests and also all the results. So if the build is failing, please correct it immediately, okay. So what I say is, fix your build failures immediately. Okay, so these are the very best practices for continuous integration. Okay, I hope you understood this, guys. If you guys have any doubts in whatever we are explaining, Please feel free to write your comments in the comment section. We'll be very happy to clarify them. And then let's do one thing. Let me give you a simple definition of CI so that I can summarize that. Okay. And guys, for you guys, I have to tell one more thing. We are not basically bothered about the deployment part. Okay. Continuous integration is the main thing that is actually included for the part of the automation testing. Okay. The deployment is totally not for us, but at least we should have a basic idea. So ultimately, what I said is when we are actually integrating our source code, we are integrating it with some builds, some unit testing tests using some frameworks like JUnit and TestNG. There what we are doing is we are actually trying to automate the testing process so that we get immediate results about whether the code that we have actually created is stable or ready for deployment or not. Okay, that's why it is called continuous integration, continuous delivery and deployment. Okay, so the task of the CI/CD pipeline, whatever they say, is actually to make the software or the application build ready for deployment. That's why it is called CI, which is continuous integration. Then comes a continuous delivery and continuous deployment. This thing keeps on going in a cycle. It is a never-ending process, and gradually, every multinational company is following this process. And please remember one thing: every day, whenever we are actually talking about the integration process, we actually do the integration test once a day. Okay, and this is the customary rule that is followed in all the IT companies. But sometimes if you talk about companies like Facebook and all, there what happens, it can be more than that in a day also, because there are lots of changes, but in normal cases it's done once in a day. Okay, so that you also have to remember, because that is a very important interview question, guys. So let me just summarize the continuous integration process. I will say that it is a process where team members, obviously the developers and the other team members, integrate their work continuously. That's why it is called continuous integration, because it is a cycle in a shared repository, just like GitHub. Okay, and as I said, it is best achieved by source code management tools like Git. Git is one of the best source code management tools that you guys must know about. Okay, and as I said, the continuous integration process can be daily or as needed, depending on your requirement. Okay, and the most important part, just remember this: every integration, or you can also say check-in, is validated by, let me just drag it a little bit up. As I said, number one is an automated build, which is triggered by a build tool like Maven or Gradle. So let me write it like this: Maven. And then the second one is an automated unit test. It cannot be an automated unit test, it can be multiple tests also. Okay, so I'll write this in bracket. And for this, we can use frameworks like JUnit or TestNG. Okay, so this is it about the continuous integration process. I hope you have understood this, guys. Okay, so this is the basic idea what is the CI thing actually called. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's get a beautiful summary of whatever we have learned till now. Okay, so what I will do is I will just tell you a brief idea about what we have already discussed here right now. Okay, so as I said, here we have a developer. Forgive my drawing, I'm not so good at drawing. Just try to understand. Here is a developer who is actually writing some code. Okay, after that, what does he do? He does a code commit. Okay, and then after the code commit there will be a pull request, and after everything is fine there will be a merge. Guys, we'll be learning all these things individually also, don't have to worry, just now try to focus on the diagram that I'm drawing. Okay, so as I said, a developer here is writing some code, then he is committing his code, and then he is making a pull request, and after that if everything goes well then the code is actually merged together into the master branch. Okay, finally what happens, if everything goes fine then we will come actually to the continuous integration section. Here what happens, let's just draw it like a box here so that you can understand better. So in this box, as I told, what will happen, we'll have a build, then we'll have a test. Okay, and then we'll have some scans, and then we'll have a upload of all our results. Okay, so this build can be done by Maven. There can be other tools like Gradle, and it can be npm also. There are so many tools, guys, and these are all automated. Okay, and after that, for this test we can use JUnit or TestNG or any other framework. And then, as I said, the scans or the actual results that we see, the results are actually done by applications like, we can say, SonarCube, or you can also say there is a software called Black Duck. We can use them. And after that, when we have to upload all our results, we can use some softwares like JFrog, etc. Okay, guys, I will be giving you details about all this. You don't have to worry about them. Okay, just try to understand the cycle now. Okay, so this thing that you see here, let me take a different color here. This thing that you see here is actually called the continuous integration process. Okay, and after that, when everything is ready for deployment, then we go to the delivery and deployment process. Okay, then what we do, let me take a different color here and I will say something like this. Here what happens, so in this environment, which is actually our CD environment, where we have the deployment or maybe the delivery environment, here either it can go to the delivery part, or there can be so many other things, guys. It can be the UAT, where we can have the acceptance testing, or which is also known as the user acceptance test. And finally, when everything is ready, we can go for the production. Okay, so this is the entire cycle. So from the developer starting to write the code, doing all his code commits, the pull request, and finally merging everything to the master branch, and then going to the automated build, the tests and the scans and the upload. After that, it will go to the continuous deployment and the delivery team. And guys, this whole cycle is actually kept on repeating. Okay, and because of that, it is called a CI/CD pipeline. And last but not the least, in this pipeline, the last thing that you need to know is about this. After everything is done, after we have done with the CI, the CD process, finally we have the last stage where we are actually taking continuous feedback and monitoring. Okay, that is very important. Okay, so this thing is done continuously so that we can actually learn more and get some very good insights about our code that we have written, and so that we can develop better applications in the future. Okay, so this is about the entire CI/CD pipeline. This is very important and followed in all the IT industries almost right now. Okay, so Guys, I hope you have understood this and liked this video. If you really like this video, guys, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you are really new to the channel, please subscribe to our channel, because I have seen that many of the people, they just watch our videos and go back. This is not a good thing, guys. I want everyone to subscribe to our channel, because that really motivates us to create more better content for you. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Till the next time, this is Saurabh signing off. Bye bye and happy learning.